Amtrak releases the names of some local victims in yesterday's deadly derailment. Did former Alabama football player Gene Jelks receive a signing bonus? The NCAA says it will investigate.
And I'm Deiah Foster, live at the New Mobile Convention Center. And coming up, I'll have a report on tonight's festivities.
Those stories plus weather and sports. Action News 10 at 10 p.m. is next.
Action News 10 is closed captioned for the deaf and hard of hearing.
Good evening. You're watching WALA Channel 10. First on the Gulf Coast, this is Action News 10 at 10 p.m. with Bob Grip, Deiah Foster, meteorologist Steve Bray, and Andrew Stocky with sports. Live, this is Action News 10.
The NTSB holds a news conference tonight about yesterday's deadly disaster.
And it's a day of celebration for Mobile's newest landmark. It finally opened.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Grip.
And I'm Deiah Foster, live at the New Mobile Convention Center. Well, after years of work, it finally opened today. There are several hundred people here. They're attending a black tie gala, and Mobile officials are beaming tonight. We'll have more on tonight's festivities coming up in a little bit. But first, we're going to toss it back to Bob for the latest on yesterday's tragic Amtrak disaster.
All right, thanks, Deiah. Questions surrounding yesterday's tragic derailment of that Amtrak passenger train remain unanswered tonight. Investigators say a tugboat carrying a string or pushing a string of barges struck the railroad bridge minutes before the train crashed into Bayou Connor near Saraland. What many of us want to know is how could it happen and who is responsible? Less than an hour ago, the National Transportation Safety Board held a news conference in West Mobile. Action News 10's Jason Berry was at that meeting. He joins us now live from the Holiday Inn with the latest. Jason?
Well, Bob, that meeting is still going on right now. As you can see, lots of media on hand asking lots of questions of John Hammerschmidt with the National Transportation Safety Board. Again, folks want to know what happened, how did this accident take place, how could something like this happen? So far, the surprise of tonight has been we haven't gotten a confirmation, we have not received a confirmation that the barges had hit the bridge. You have heard a lot of reports that the barges hit the bridge, and that's what loosened the bridge and loosened the pilings on the bridge, and that's what caused this accident in the first place. We've heard information all this week that the Coast Guard, they have reported that a barge hit the bridge. As we can see, the meeting is starting to wrap up right now, asking lots of questions. Some of the information we've received so far is one of the keys to finding out what happened is retrieving some of the recording devices. I've been told that there are 3 recording devices on board the locomotive. One of the recording devices was in the first locomotive, the lead train, which at the moment that locomotive is underwater, about 40 feet underwater. 2/3 of that locomotive is underwater. Officials will be looking for that recording device tomorrow. There's also a recording device in the second car and the third car, and officials are hoping those recording devices will help them in the investigation. Other information we heard is that they are still looking for 3 crew members at this time. Some of the information that we've been told, more of this investigation will be going on in the next couple of days. Right now we're going to tell you a little bit about what's going on tomorrow. Again, tomorrow they will be looking for the recording devices. Here's a brief excerpt of what Mr. Hammerschmidt told us earlier tonight.
This group took samples of concrete, and they took samples of paint. These samples will be sent back to our laboratory in Washington headquarters. And it's been reported that the FBI has had a metallurgist on scene. I mentioned that last night. We will also do our metallurgical examination and analysis of this physical evidence. Tomorrow they're going to also look at the tug. The tug's name is Marbella. They hope to fully document the tugboat, all aspects of it. The tug and barges are owned by the Warrior and Gulf Company.
Again, officials would not confirm whether or not the barge actually hit the bridge. That seems like the likely scenario right now. The case is still under investigation. The accident is still under investigation. We have been told that at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, the Coast Guard will hold a press conference of their own. We plan to be there, and hopefully we'll have more information at that time. Bob?
Okay, Jason, I have a question for you. Can you hear?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I did sort of eavesdrop on part of the news conference as it was going on. It seems like there was a question about a delay in New Orleans. Was that right?
Yeah, that is correct. It seems as if there was a delay, about a half hour or so. They said they had to fix some air conditioning units and some restrooms on board the train. They don't feel like that really has anything specific to do with their investigation right now, but again, the train went from New Orleans, it made its way to Mobile, left Mobile about a half hour late before going up again on the tragic course that it took, but they don't believe that any of the technical problems, mechanical problems that they had in New Orleans had anything to do with that. Whether or not that turns up to be the case or not, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have more updates throughout the day tomorrow morning. Bob?
Of course, if they had not been delayed, perhaps they would have gotten over the bridge before the barge had hit it.
That's correct.
All right, thanks. Jason Berry reporting live. Tomorrow morning, the recovery effort resumes on the bayou. Late this afternoon, crews managed to lift the passenger car from the muddy water Bayou Connor. Crane also lifted an engine from the mud to allow searchers to enter the cabin. One searcher says it was a terrible sight.
That time of the morning, some were found in the restrooms, some were found still in their seats, some were found in the floor. The one we found this morning, the 5-year-old girl, was floating.
Earlier today, divers removed all the bodies that were still in the passenger car. Here's an update on the latest death count. According to Amtrak officials, 44 people are now confirmed dead. 3 are still missing. So far, Amtrak has released the names of 25 victims. At this time, we know at least 2 of them are from the Gulf Coast area. Betty and Oscar Skelton of Pensacola are on the Amtrak casualty list. Also, a Biloxi newspaper is reporting that Martha Kaspelich of Long Beach, Mississippi, also died in yesterday's crash. Now, in addition to looking for the cause of the train wreck, the National Transportation Safety Board is also checking into the response time of the rescue teams. Local officials today confirmed reports by survivors who said it took about 45 minutes for the first rescue workers to arrive on the scene. Also confirmed was a report that it took about 2 hours for a train with rescue workers from Amtrak, CSX Railroad, and the Mobile Fire Department to get to the accident scene. As we mentioned, Coast Guard officials say it all began with the Mayday call from the tugboat operator. Red Cross emergency appeal for blood donations that followed yesterday's train derailment has now been lifted. Many of you stood in line for hours over the last couple of days to donate blood. Red Cross officials say they never expected such a tremendous response. Over the last 2 days, more than 1,000 units of blood were collected. The call attracted regular donors and many new donors who all had the same thing in mind.
I just wanted to do something. I didn't know what to do, so I decided to come give blood. I've got enough of that to give. Can't give anything else. So.
Well, I just heard about the tragedy, and I decided that I would give some. And since I had the one that they wanted O positive or O negative, and mine happened to be O positive.
More than 1,000 units of blood were donated over the past 2 days. Red Cross officials say the blood supply for the region has now returned to normal, but they encourage folks to continue to donate in the future. Still to come on Action News 10, the wait is finally over. The new Mobile Convention Center is christened.
I'm Amy Greer, live at the Mobile Convention Center. It takes a heck of a party to celebrate such a fantastic building. We'll take you to all the festivities coming up next.
From the new Mobile Convention Center, Deiah?
Well, Bob, it took a long time to finish, but it was well worth the wait. And now it's time for folks here in Mobile to shine, and that's exactly what they're doing. Now, earlier today, we brought you complete coverage of the dedication ceremony, but just in case you missed it, take a look. Today, when the new convention center swung open its doors, it welcomed some pretty important people, the folks responsible for its design and construction. Finally, a chance for them to kick back and enjoy the building's splendor during a dedication ceremony. There were several hundred people on hand. Even our own Bob Grip got a chance to enjoy the festivities. In fact, he was one of the guest speakers.
And welcome to the cornerstone of Mobile's future.
And then finally, to wrap it all up, Mobile Mayor Mike Dow was joined by a host of other folks for a christening ceremony to bless this new facility with good fortune. Now, as you can see, a great time was had by all, and the fun is far from over. There are tons of people here. Now, Action News 10's Amy Greer is somewhere in this crowd. She joins us now to talk about tonight's festivities.
Well, Deiah, this is, of course, the Black Tie Gala tonight to celebrate this whole glorious day, the opening of the convention center. Right over here to the side, you can see folks are enjoying some fabulous food. We've got bananas Foster for dessert. This is wrapping up. Hello. It's been a wonderful day to celebrate, really, the arts in Mobile. The Arts Council put on this gala. We've had the Port City Symphony, the opera, the ballet performing. Brandy Brown, of course, from Les Miserables. She sang tonight. Of course, it's all to celebrate Arthur Outlaw and Jane Baxter here. Yeah. Two people who really this event has meant a lot to. I know that this day's going to be awfully special for you. You, the former mayor, this, of course, defined your political race against Mike Dow 4 years ago. And this is a little bit bittersweet to see this building open today, or what's it like for you?
No, that's over with. You have to do some things, and if you want to do them, whether it's popular or not, anything, you've got to do them. When I took office in Mobile was at a low ebb, and I decided that I was going to do something, and I didn't care what the consequences were, and so the consequences were not. This surpasses anything that all the low ebb that you ever had to have this high ebb today, and so that's not it. And I had a company to go back to. I'm in a city I love. I can help it. I can still help it in any way I want to. So.
Very special day for you. I know also Jane Baxter, an outgoing council member. How can you put this into words?
Oh, it's been one of the most fabulous days of my life. It's seen to fruition the planning of the city council. 8 years of strategic planning and this facility of which all Mobileans should be proud. I'm very, very happy tonight.
All right, thank you both for being with us.
With this little girl, she was a part-time employee, but she worked full-time, just like all our cohorts, to bring all this into fruition.
It is a day to celebrate. Both of you all should be celebrating. Mobile should be celebrating, and we'll celebrate a bit more. We'll be back here in just a moment to tell you more about this party tonight. Deiah?
Thanks, Amy. Now, Bob, we're going to toss it back to you in the studio for a little while, but Amy and I will be standing by with more coverage from this big bash.
All right, thanks, Deiah. The weather was absolutely perfect for today's christening, really, of the convention center. Meteorologist Steve Bray joins me with the forecast for tomorrow.
I want to know why we weren't invited to the party.
Yeah, they're having a good time.
They look like they're having a good time, don't they? The weather's going to be a good time. It looks like it's still nice out there right now. It's going to be nice for the next couple of days at least. The forecast is next. Clear skies during the day today and last night, and that allowed for some cool temperatures during the nighttime hours, but extremely warm temperatures during the day. Check out the lows, first of all, this morning, into the 50s in Montgomery and Birmingham, but along the Gulf Coast, it was 60s. Now watch, I'll transition into the highs today. Watch how they jumped up into the 90s for the most part. 91 in Atlanta and Birmingham, 93 in Montgomery, 93 in Jackson, 89 though in Biloxi, Panama City, 91 degrees. Along the Gulf Coast, Pensacola, 94 degrees. That breaks the old record set back in 1921. Mobile tied the record of 1931 at 93 degrees. Now, lows this morning along the rest of the Gulf Coast into the middle 60s as well. Tonight, a touch warmer, but it will still be rather pleasant. Right now, it's 77 in Mobile, Pensacola, and Hattiesburg, 79 Pascagoula, and 78 in Fort Walton Beach. Downtown Mobile right now, 79 degrees with humidity of 82%. Winds are out of the south right now at 5 miles per hour. Now, the satellite picture, you can see some thunderstorms that have been brewing up to the north of us. Those have been dropping down a little bit during the last several hours. Some thunderstorms now going on across northern Alabama and Mississippi. Now, most of this activity is diving down to the southeast. We may get a few clouds, but it looks like most of the activity will shear off to the east of us because we've got high pressure dominating right along the Gulf Coast, and the jet stream in the southeast is going pretty much from west to east, so it should push all the thunderstorm activity, at least most of it, to the east of us. So not really expecting any rain, and with this flow going parallel to the front, it looks like it's going to stall that system out. So we'll still see it up to the north of us during the day tomorrow. So still rather dry tomorrow, but on Saturday, more dry weather, but the showers will be beginning to creep in. So may see a chance of rain during the day on Sunday, but more likely by Monday. Up until then, just clear and warm. Down about just a little bit at Coffeyville to 17.50. Alabama River, no change during the day today. My forecast for tonight, clear and mild, 65 to 70 degrees for the lows tonight. During the day tomorrow, mostly sunny and warm, 89 to 94 degrees, so another hot one. possibly could be close to another record as well. Extended outlook, looking for partly cloudy skies Saturday with 92 for the high, 90 on Sunday, and the lows will creep back up into the low 70s. By Monday, a chance for some showers, and Tuesday, look back for partly cloudy skies. And Bob, it's going to cool off. 83 for the high on Tuesday, but the low 58 in the morning. So we're going to see some pretty nice temperatures, it looks like, by the middle of next week.
Finally, fall is starting to creep up, maybe a little.
Yeah, by Tuesday, if those temperatures hold up, it will feel like fall.
All right, thanks, Steve. Still to come on Action News 10, we'll rejoin Deiah Foster and Amy Greer at the Convention Center's Gala opening.
And I'll tell you about some of the Convention Center's most interesting features. I'm Deiah Foster, back live here at the Mobile Convention Center. Now, many of you have probably seen this facility as you pass through downtown. Well, now we're going to show you some interesting features that you're probably unaware of. If you're wondering how big this building is, think about this. There are 142,000 square feet of meeting and exhibit space, enough for nearly 3 football fields. If you lay the yards of concrete it took to build this building end to end, it would stretch nearly 23 miles. Now, certainly one of the most interesting features is a skywalk connecting it to the Adams Mark Hotel. It gives you a great view of Water Street in both directions and a pretty good look at the waterfront, too. Rising 13 stories above the street, the symbol of the Convention Center is its steeple. The green and white steeple isn't just good-looking, it's functional, too. It will serve as a beacon. 100,000 square feet, that's the size of 2 football fields, and it's also the size of the Convention Center's exhibit hall. You can put just about anything in here, and this weekend it's full of displays, part of the Best of Mobile Festival beginning Saturday at 10 a.m., and you're invited. The 3rd floor of the Convention Center is its concourse level. Here you can see a spectacular main hallway that eventually extends all the way around to the main ballroom. The ballroom is a sign of tonight's Black Tie Gala taking place right now. And if you think you can never afford to rent this room, well, how about half of it? The room can be divided and half will cost you $900, plus another $450 to move you in and out. Now here's something everyone can enjoy, a view of the Mobile River. It's amazing how much traffic is on this river. Imagine coming out of a meeting and seeing a ship like this. The Riverwalk is open to all of us at any hour. Well, there you have it, some of the Convention Center's best features. Now, Amy Greer is enjoying another wonderful feature here, the ballroom. Let's join her now for more of tonight's fun. Amy?
Well, Deiah, this is, of course, the Black Tie Gala, which is wrapping up this wonderful day of festivities. And what it's really all about is giving meeting planners a very important chance to see what Mobile is all about, what this building is all about. And joining me right now is a meeting planner, Sharon Morgan, and, of course, Lee Schisler, who, a very exciting day for you as director of the MCVC. What's this day all about, especially tonight?
Tonight was Mobile's opportunity to shine at its best for our meeting planner friends from the national market, and we did superlative. It's been an excellent night.
Of course, Sharon Morgan is bringing a group of about 10,000 students here, one of the biggest conventions. Tell me, what are your thoughts on this building tonight?
I always knew that I'd made the right choice, but tonight I'm absolutely convinced. It's a wonderful facility. I know we're going to have a great time, and I thank Mobile for doing this.
All right, thank you both for joining us. Again, just one of several folks, hundreds of folks who are here tonight as they see a really fantastic building on its big night. Deiah, back to you.
Thanks, Amy. Well, Bob, I think we're going to turn it over to you now. I think I'll join Amy, and I'll see you in a little while.
Well, I don't blame you, Deiah. Thanks. Andrew Stocky joins me now with a look at tonight's sports.
And Alabama's in the news. I have in my hand the letter. The school got a copy of the letter. The school got from the NCAA an investigation into the charges made by former player Gene Jelks. Well, more on that story coming up next as Action News 10 at 10 p.m. continues. For the second time this year, the NCAA will investigate college football in Alabama. But this time, the magnifying glass is poised over Tuscaloosa. The NCAA informed the University of Alabama that a probe is underway into allegations by Gene Jelks that he received a signing bonus and cash to help him with car payments, and a pair of Alabama coaches and boosters provided him the money. That's a violation of NCAA rules. Jelks' accusations were made last November. Here's more of Jelks' original charges from a May interview with Cable News Network.
Who's the running back coach at the University of Alabama, set up a bank loan there in Gadsden, Central Bank, for my mom, put it in her name for me, so no loan car illegally from the university.
Now, in a May interview with the Birmingham Post-Herald, Jelks claimed a group of Auburn supporters convinced him to come forward almost 4 years after his final game at Alabama. Now, school officials have promised full cooperation with the NCAA during the inquiry. Now, the man who coached Jelks in his final years at Alabama, Bill Curry, had his Kentucky Wildcats at South Carolina tonight. The Gamecocks took a 17-7 fourth quarter lead, and freshman quarterback Steve Tannehill was pumped. But he was quickly brought back down to earth as Kentucky scored twice in the fourth quarter. This is the big play. Randy Wyatt, untouched, 64 yards for the touchdown, and Kentucky comes back to win a mild upset tonight, 21-17. The optimal number in tonight's Baker-Viger game is 4. Viger's defense gives up less than 4 points a game. The Baker offense barely scoring that many a contest. 4 was also the number of plays it took before Viger got on the board tonight. Junior quarterback Nicky Kennedy keeping the ball in the option, and look at him go. Untouched for the touchdown. Now Baker needed a big play. They got it. That's sophomore Fred Buckhalter from his own 29-yard line. Looks like he'll go the distance, but they will catch him just before he hits the goal line. It would set up a Hornet touchdown. Viger answers, though. Alvin Smith at the 2-yard line plunges into the end zone, and Viger a big winner tonight, 41-7. Let's go to Ladd Stadium, where Satsuma and Murphy in action. The Gators get on the board quickly thanks to a Steve Clayton field goal. Then watch this play. This is Valesky Johnson at quarterback. He drops back, and he keeps fading back, and finally when he decides to throw, a wounded duck picked off by Doug Anderson, and it is clear sailing to the end zone. Murphy, a very rough night. The final score, 23-6. The Gators had bite this evening. Now, Mobile Semi-Pro Football Club, the Vipers go for their 3rd win Saturday, but the 7:30 p.m. game against New Orleans has been moved to Baker High School. Let's check out the pennant race now. Braves in Montreal. Dennis Martinez, his hand giving him a little bit of trouble. He had a 1-0 lead, and it would disappear in the 5th inning. Dave Justice jacks a shot to deep right center field. It will not leave the ballpark, but it will clear off the bases. 3 runs would score, 5 runs for Atlanta in that inning. They go on to win this contest 5-1. The Braves' magic number is now down to 8. They lead by 2.5 games. That's because the Giants were in Houston, where Barry Bonds had a very big night. This double will score Matt Williams. Then next at bat for Bonds, a shot to center field, and that will score Will Clark. The Giants win 7-0, but once again the Braves still a 2.5 ahead. The magic number is 8, and the Olympics of the year 2000 will be in Sydney, Australia.
All right, thanks, Andrew. Back in a minute. One more time, let's go back to Deiah Foster at Mobile's brand new convention center.
Bob, there's still more convention funds set for this weekend. That's when this $52 million complex will open up to the general public. Now, for all you runners out there, listen up. There's a 5K run, and it's set to kick off at 8 o'clock a.m. on Saturday morning. Now, there's still more fun going on. From 6 to 10, there will be an arts and crafts fair, plus tons of music and entertainment all day long. The fun will continue on Sunday from 11 to 5. Now, let's check back in with Amy one more time. This Black Tie Gala is about to wrap up. Amy, what's going on now?
Well, Deiah, of course, this gala tonight is really to let all these folks feel good about not only this building, but about Mobile, the arts, what Mobile has to offer. Also, interestingly enough, a lot of magazine writers for convention trade publications are here. They'll be heading back home after this weekend to write about what they think about Mobile and this glorious building. So, a very important night, everyone having a lot of fun. Of course, the celebration will continue tomorrow and Saturday, and we'll have full coverage. Deiah?
Okay, thanks, Amy. Now, Bob, one last reminder. You and I and a lot of other folks from Action News 10 will be here Saturday and Sunday to meet and say hello to people. So if you guys are coming out here, be sure and stop by and say hi to all of us. And that about wraps it up from here. Bob, back to you.
All right, thanks, Deiah. That's all the time we have for right now. Stay tuned for The Tonight Show. For all your overnight and midday news, tune into Action News 10 at 6 a.m. and at noon. Have a good night.